the demand was there and I saw that. And that's what drove me to actually purchase a property in the Smokies. Figure out what drives you, and you have to have a goal in mind. For me, it was financial freedom, spending more time with my kids and leaving a legacy behind, putting my name to something. Find something for you that drives you, and then figure out what's the next step. Just take the next step. Don't be afraid of trying to figure out everything, trying to learn everything before you do. Take the next step and learn as you go. Because if you don't, you're just always going to be sitting back on the sidelines while everyone else is doing it.
This is where the journey of expanding empires in real estate, small business, and life unfolds. Join me for insightful conversations with industry leaders, uncovering the strategies from overcoming setbacks to celebrating triumphs in business and life. This podcast is your guide through the roller coaster of entrepreneur life. Whether you're navigating the challenges of small business or conquering the world of real estate, here is your empire. Welcome to Empire Expanders.
Hello out there, Empire Expanders. Today we have my buddy John Stevens here with me. He's my STR buddy, or short-term rental. But I promise you we won't talk short-term rentals the whole time because he does a lot more. In fact, he's one of the few guys I know that know about car washes. He's been in the car wash industry for about 17 years now. He's part owner of one car wash, and I believe he's got one under agreement too. I'm not quite sure. He might talk about that. As you can see from my background here, let's move away. I got something started too. So I started Salary to Stay, which is a business for coaching for people to help with the short-term rentals. So I help people learn how to buy short-term rentals. So I've got some started. John's got a bunch of things started. He has a cabin in Gatlinburg. So I bother him all the time because I want a cabin in Gatlinburg. So he is going to help me out with that. In fact, he's hooked me up with his lender and his realtor. So I'm just, he's doing all the work. I'm just riding on his piggyback. So John, come on up here, man. Let's talk. There you are. I'm going to get all nerdy for this one. There we go. I'm ready to dig in. Got my glasses on. I'm ready to go.
You look great. I don't have my glasses, sorry.
I had to start putting them on because I'm doing a lot of setup for the new business, and a lot of it's computer work right now, behind the scenes, CRM and stuff like that. All those things that start a new business that people don't see. It's like, oh my God, a new business. How'd you launch this so quick with no work? And you're like, oh, you didn't see me sitting in front of the computer for 12 hours a day, setting up all the back-end systems to do this. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all in the background. People don't realize that. They think you're an overnight success, but it's all the work you put in behind the scenes.
Yep. Sometimes it's who, sometimes it's how. It should be who, not how all the time, but sometimes when you're startup mode, you don't fund it with enough money to have all the who's. So you're the who sometimes. You wear all the hats until you can get the money in the business to get the hats. So
that's true.
So what are you up to these days, dude? Tell everybody out there. I know, but they don't.
Well, I'm Jonathan. I own Next Step Investments. I own a short-term rental in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. I started that back in 2021. I bought my first property, operating that right now. Still learning the ins and outs. It's not set it and forget it like they advertise on social media. Doing that, I was in the car wash industry, or still am, since 2006 was when I first started in the car wash industry. It was actually going to be a summer job, and basically kind of spiraled out of control from there and worked my way up through the company and got, part ownership of the car wash a few years back. And now I'm looking to expand some more, and a couple other car washes under contract, and hopefully get some more businesses going.
Dang, man. So your entrepreneur journey started on an accident. You were just like, I'm going to wash some cars, have some fun in the summer. And all of a sudden you're like, wait a second. How'd that happen?
So it was a summer job. I was only 17, and I was going to school for automotive because I wanted to be a technician. And I graduated school. I left for the car wash for about a year, went working on cars for Ford, and realized that I didn't really have any real interest in working on other people's cars. I just wanted to work on my own Mustang. And, you get tired of breaking bolts on old cars. And So I ended up going back to the car wash I had started at and got a management position. Started working my way up through the company, started learning more about chemistry and how a car wash works. And it's like a high mileage car. You're pumping through a ton of cars every day. We wash on average now about 300,000 cars a year in a single location. And so it's pretty busy. That means a lot of wear and tear on equipment. So I had to learn how to maintain and repair equipment. And I'm also responsible for managing a staff and installing equipment, learning new systems. So it's definitely never a boring job.
Those you seeing video saw my eyes go wide as I looked away for a second because I did some math over on the calculator on the other screen. That's 822 cars a day almost flying through that car
Yeah.
wash.
Yeah. We
That's not
actually we have the ability to process over 2,000 cars a day. It just depends on the time of year. You get salt on the roads, in the Northeast and the North when you get a lot of snow. So that drives up business. Pollen season is coming up. That'll be a busy time of year. It's just like the short-term rental market. You have your ebbs and flows, your ups and downs in the busy season.
Where those cars go through there like 60 miles an hour or something like that? Just
Yeah, we have at our single location, we have two tunnels on one side by side. There was such a demand. It used to be a detailing bay. We used to clean the inside of cars, but the demand was there for the exterior car wash because we offer a membership program. So people are able to pay a monthly fee and wash their car as much as they want. And so the demand, like I said, demand was there, line was around the block, and we're like, you know what, we need to add a second tunnel on site. So I got to see the behind the scenes of the permitting process and getting quotes and getting new equipment installed and getting everything up to speed and training staff and processing cars to get to the point to where we are now.
now going from washing the cars and such like that to management, that must have been a little bit of a jump, especially at a younger age and a learning curve.
Yeah,
Tell me about that
yeah,
transition.
definitely. So I'm an introvert by nature and probably have some social anxiety too. So, being the person that goes from just being one of the workers, worrying about myself to having to manage a staff of upwards of 30 people and having, being able to lead people, it was a little bit easier for me because I already knew everybody and already had the trust of my coworkers, and it seemed like a no-brainer. There's definitely the experience of dealing with customer service. When you're an employee, if something goes wrong, it's up to the manager, and then you become the manager, and it's your responsibility to actually deal with customer concerns, employee concerns. You're dealing with people day to day. It's just not machines. So you have, people who are having a bad day, and it becomes your problem. And at the same time, you're dealing with people who are buying vehicles, and now more than ever, cars are getting more and more expensive. It's like having a mortgage on a house, and these are investments for people. So you're responsible for maintaining and taking care of other people's, upwards of $100,000 car. So it's definitely been an experience to learn that process and learn how to help people and work with others at the same time.
The front lines are definitely interesting. I remember I came out of college and worked at Target as a executive team lead of guest experience, otherwise known as assistant store manager, with a really cool title because Target loved cool titles. And it's one of those things where people say you should work in a service industry or retail at some point in your life because you learn a lot because the people
Yep.
you have to deal with, and you work. That's like, it reminds me, because that's what you're working in now, is you have to be able to work through a lot of problems, and you have no idea what's going to hit you in a given day when it comes to that sort of thing. I think when people think of car washes, they don't think of that. They think of just a car going through, it's done. They don't think of, hey, you
Yep.
scratched my car in there or something like that. And you have to be like, nothing in there could scratch your car. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, you would be
However, you
surprised. So
solve it.
you see that a lot more in the wintertime because especially around here, people will take an ice scraper or a shovel to their paint to remove snow. And little do they know, they're scratching up their paint. And so they come to the car wash, they clean the car, they come out on the other side. And the first thing they do is look at the car because they want to see how clean it is. And they say, why are all these scratches here? And you have to be the one to say, just so you know, this is this lines up perfectly with someone taking a snow shovel or an ice scraper to their paint. And, it was negligence on their part. But at the same time, you have to try to put yourself in their shoes and, educate them on the process of, washing a vehicle the safe way. What's great about this company is that we always, every year we sit down, and me and the owner, and we discuss how can we make this place better? What what improvements can we add to the site to be the best car wash possible? So we're always going to trade shows, which I didn't even know that those existed. But we're planning to go to a large trade show in Nashville in May, and we're going with the intent to look at new equipment, check out chemistry, go get educated on management and systems and software and all that, the same as a lot of other industries, and try to put out the cleanest, shiniest, driest car possible, and doing the best that we can for customers.
I'm pretty sure there's a trade show for everything these days. Like if you're in the industry, there's a trade show for it. Everything I've been in, there's been a trade show for. Of course, I've been in kind of more of the popular industries, short-term rentals, realtor, flipping, stuff like that. Those are more popular. We're going to have an introvert on the show, Ashley. She is an introvert real estate agent. She has an actual Facebook group around it. But I want to ask you while you're on the show, do you have any tips as an introvert for working in a management role or working in customer service? Because I know you can do it, but there are certain things we can do outside of our comfort zone that drains us. And you have to go home with family and 3 small kids. So you can't just hide in the corner.
Right. Yeah. One thing I would say is that when you're an introvert, it's hard to put yourself out there. But you have to realize that other people are probably in the same shoes as you. And it makes, it's hard for me to explain. It's easier to just walk away, and not actually, wow, I've never actually sat there and thought about it. I've always kind of just said, you know what, if I don't do it, then, somebody else will. And I've always kind of pushed myself to try to improve who I am as a person. So actually, putting myself out there in front of others, I know the end result was I would better myself, better my surroundings, better my career, give a better life for my kids. So it's always in the back of my mind that if I don't do it, someone else will. And, why not me? I think that's the best way I can explain that.
It's interesting. There's another part of your drive. Well, it is your drive. There's another part of you that overcomes the introvert wanting to hide. So the more powerful part of your brain, your soul, however you want to put it, that says, you know what? I know we don't like this. I know this makes us uncomfortable, but we're going to stretch our comfort zone. And you just continue to do that, which is amazing. I don't know if everybody else knows this out there. In the Empire Expanders world, that's what I'm going to call it, I guess, right now. We have certain things we're gravitated to, whether we're talking introvert and extrovert, visionary, integrator, or anything, the DISC profile, whether it's DISOC. And it doesn't mean we can't do the other things. It doesn't mean John can't go out and have fun with a whole bunch of people. It doesn't mean he can't network with 100 people. It doesn't mean the extroverts can't hang out by themselves and don't want to occasionally. What it really means is when you do a lot of things outside of your comfort zone that's not natural to who you are, it drains you. And everyone out there can think right now back to times when they're like, I did all these things. It wasn't exhausting, but I came home mentally tired. And I don't know why. Why was I exhausted? Nothing makes sense. If you think deeper into that, you may have been doing something outside of your comfort zone. If you're an introvert, you may have been at a networking event with 100 people in there and you have to network. For me, I'm fairly introverted too, which I know, it's weird. I do a podcast, I do networking groups and everything, but large groups drain me. Small groups don't. So if I go to a networking group for a weekend, I come home Monday exhausted because I have to put myself out there the entire time. I don't have my time to recuperate. So that's my little kind of thought process on introvert, extrovert, and other things. It's easy to tell an introvert and extrovert because it's a line. There's ambivert too. Sure, Ashley talk about when she's on here, but I'll let her talk about that. But think about times when you were drained by doing something that wasn't that draining. And those are things that are outside your normal day-to-day activities and your normal part of you.
That's one thing I started going to real estate meetups to try to educate myself and network, just like, you're supposed to. And I always found it so difficult to gain the courage and actually just walk up to people and, just talk to them and introduce yourself. And I think it's also something, in the back of your mind is like, am I good enough to do this? And, put myself out there. And it's always that voice in the back of your head saying, you're not good enough, you can't do this. And it's definitely a mindset thing. And that's the other thing last few years is working on my mindset and knowing that I have something of value that I can bring to the table and possibly help other people with something that I struggled with. And that was definitely one of those things. I was always the shy kid in the back of the class, never talked to anybody growing up. And I think working at the car wash and having, a sales job and forcing myself in front of the other people and talking to them really helped me with my confidence and learn that, I have something to bring to the table. And it's also one of those things too, is I'm trying to show my kids that, they're of value and they can do whatever they want in life. And it just takes a little bit of effort and belief in themselves to actually do it.
Yeah, you definitely have a lot of confidence now. You spoke in front of them with me about short-term rentals, and by the time this comes out, you're gonna have spoken by yourself. Is this your first time speaking by yourself in the front of a
Yeah,
room?
tomorrow. Yeah, it'll be tomorrow, actually.
Tomorrow?
Yep.
Awesome, dude. That's awesome. You'll find somebody told me this, and it happened because I ran in that networking group for a year. I might start another one again soon. And I spoke at many of them. It's so much easier to be in front of the room than it is to be in the crowd. I don't know why, but people come to you, so you don't
Yeah.
have to go to them. Because I'm very bad at making awkward, weird conversations. If I have something to talk to you about, cool, we'll talk. But I'm really bad at so how's it going?
Yep.
What do you do? How many doors do you got? Like, I don't want to have the conversation again.
Yeah, it's very cringy
You give me,
to do that
yeah,
to everybody.
you give me an opening, I'll talk to you. If you're like, hey, I want a short-term rental, I'm like, cool, boom, on my way, or
Yep.
something like that. But yeah, so your kids, you said you want to prove it to them or show them. Do you find that's a big driver
Yeah,
to move you
absolutely.
forward in that?
Yeah. I when COVID first hit, we were actually shut down for 2 months. And so I got to spend 2 months of my life with my kids every single day. And I got to know them better. And, it was one of those things I had to go back to work, which a lot of people were in the same position. And I'm realizing I was, missing out on a lot of things with my kids. But I still wanted to have that connection with them and be able to go and do things with them. And so that's when I started looking into investing in real estate because I wanted to have something, one, to leave behind for them, build my own legacy for myself and my own selfish reasons, and being able to get more of my time back because at the end of the day, that's who I'm really doing it for is my kids. And, having the three of them in my life is just the pinnacle for me. Being able to come home every day, having them run up to me, hug me, say they missed me. And, it's, you always, as a parent, when you're not with them, at least for me, you have this attachment to them. And it's like almost an emptiness feeling like I got to get back to them. And so I'm always doing everything I can to think about my future and being in their lives and always being there for them and with them.
How old are they now? How old are they?
My oldest is 8. My daughter is 6. She's going on 7. And my youngest is 1.5.
Is the 8-year-old the one that said he refuses to help with the cabin, just go on vacation there the other day to me?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. That's who you saw. Gabriel. Yep.
That was awesome. That was a lot of fun. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
That's what
He's
an
the
8-year-old should
comedian.
say. Like, dude, it's not my time yet.
Yeah. He likes to talk about
I'm a
it, but
kid.
he doesn't want to help with it yet.
He's excited about it. That's good. You got him excited
Yeah.
about the cabin. I got it's a 2-bedroom, right?
Yep. Yeah. 2 bed, 2 bath.
I think that's what I'll be I might be hunting that this year if the 100% cost seg comes back and the rates don't do something stupid.
Mm.
We never know, even though they're talking rate cuts in June, but you never know. I
Yep.
listen every month and see what's going on. Every month it's a little bit better, but not wonderful. And that's making the market a little weird. And the weird part is a lot of people are like, I'll wait till the rates go down. I'm like, okay, you do that and you fight everybody else. I
Yeah.
kind of want to wait for that little soft spot where it doesn't go down a ton. It goes down a little bit. Grab something before the huge rush comes in. Now, everyone, don't listen to that out there and do the rush with me. Like, wait for everybody else. Don't take my advice. Don't do it with me. No, you can. But the mistake some people make is you wait for the rush to get a little lower rate, but then you get a lot higher price because you get 12
Yeah.
offers you're fighting with. I
Yeah.
don't know, John, was it when you were offering over in Gatlinburg? Was it the time when everything was going 200,000 above asking?
Yeah, pretty much. I'd say I got lucky. This property hit the market and I made an offer at asking price with a $20,000 appraisal gap, and it hit. They accepted my offer the next day, and it appraised at what I offered.
That is amazing.
Yeah, I
For
got
everyone out there,
that was like a unicorn because I got it in
yeah,
2021 and I got an incredibly low interest rate.
yeah, like 3 years ago, for everyone out there, Gatlinburg was the hotspot for all short-term rentals. That was the infancy stage. We kind of like the short-term rentals getting big,
Yeah.
and if you could buy one, put it on the market, and make money. Now you have to know how to actually run it and buy it right for it to make money. They still make good money if you do it right.
Yep.
That's hence my program help people do it right. But back then, you could just throw on the market, and everybody wanted to be in Gatlinburg. I mean, we still do. It's the most trafficked national park
Yeah, I mean you're
in
looking at like
America.
10 to 12 million visitors a year.
Yeah, it's a drivable destination. It's free to go to the park. The strip is now like basically an amusement park by itself. It has Dolly World next to it. Just don't
Yeah,
drive down the strip, the
they're
Gatlinburg
adding
strip.
to
Never
it
do it.
every day. There's
All
always there's a
right.
new attraction coming in all the time. It's like the largest Buc-ee's in the US is there.
I honestly wish it would stop. I kind of it's getting a little overboard for me. But
Yeah.
the hikes, I still like the hikes and everything else. And the moonshine is fun as long as you don't do too many tastings. Then you're good.
Yeah. Well, that's what you do is you just pay $5 for the tastings and go up and down the strip in Gatlinburg and you are all set.
Yeah. Then you don't remember if you're in Gatlinburg or not anymore.
Yeah,
You're
there
like,
you
where am I again? There's a mountain here. That's all I know. Oh boy. So let's not go down that rabbit hole. I'm going to Gatlinburg 2 or 3 times now. Once I had something in a contract that fell apart. That's why I went down there once, and once was just a vacation. But let's go back to car washes. Short-term rentals and car washes both fit into this mix. It's not as much as short-term rentals now, but it's starting to show up in car washes. There's always something on TikTok, Instagram, Reels, and stuff like that where someone's out there going, "This is easy. All you gotta do is plug this in, put a quarter in there, and boom, money pops out the back, and you do
go. Yep.
nothing." I've seen that in car washes, and I've seen that in laundromats lately. I'm sure
Yeah.
everyone here wants to hear what's the real deal behind car washes, man.
So everybody just thinks, oh, it's just soap and water. It's not. You have all your chemistry, your high and low pHs, your waxes, your drying agents, your purified spot-free water. It goes through a reverse osmosis system. We do water reclamation, so we recycle 70% of our water to reuse so that we're more green. The equipment, whether it's electric or hydraulic, we do both. There's so much to a car wash that it's not just, a hand wash. If it was a hand wash, it'd be easier. Then you're dealing with more labor. But it's not what you would see on social media when someone shows you, oh, look what I made at my car wash today, and they just got a bunch of quarters and they're cashing in on all that. It's actually so much more to it. I mean, you have breakdowns, you have failures. Like I said, it's like a high mileage car. The more cars you wash, the more potential you have for breakdowns, basically. So there's a lot of maintenance, a lot of cleanup. I mean, you got to think too, people are coming in, they're washing their cars, they're throwing trash away, vacuuming their cars out. So there's trash everywhere too. So keeping a clean image, you always have to be on top of that. It's not a set it and forget it type of business. When things are going good and, it's run like a well-oiled machine, things are great. But, when something breaks, then, it can kind of spiral out of control from there.
Give me some horror stories, man. Tell me about a really bad time.
Well, you always get nowadays, especially, you get these smart cars like Teslas, and everybody who owns a smart car hasn't been taught how to actually properly use it. So usually when you pull into a car wash, you're supposed to put the car into neutral, take your foot off the brake, hands off the steering wheel. Most of the time, you'll have people come in and they're either got it in reverse or drive, foot on the brake. I mean, I've had people drive through the car wash going like 30 miles an hour, and they fly out the other side of the car wash and they hit a light pole, and they're like, look what the car wash did. And I'm like, you were in drive the whole time. The car wash can't even push you through that fast. It's usually human error. The car wash does what it does. It's designed to wash every vehicle the same way, especially on a conveyorized system when all the cars get pulled through at the exact same speed. The equipment is designed to look at the vehicle, measure it, and give the appropriate wash for whatever the customer paid for. And I mean, we've had people just completely ignore everything. And, the smart cars are crazy because now they have all these other new features where you can't just throw it into neutral. You actually have to go into the settings in the computer and shut certain systems off so that the sensors shut off, so it doesn't depress the brakes or throw it into park while it's going through when it gets soap on the front. It's definitely, yeah, it's always a learning curve for us in the car washing industry because we have to learn all the new systems that come out in the new cars every year to try to make sure we're pushing cars through as fast as possible and teaching our customers how to use their own cars.
Something I never would have thought of.
Yep.
So the hose and water days are over. I can't just put on my bathing suit and just wipe a car down anymore.
I mean, you could go to a self-serve car wash and do that.
I could do 800 cars a day, can't I? By my hand? I'd be the most
good luck. I probably could have done it when I was, 18 doing this, but not anymore.
No.
I wake up and I hurt in the morning.
Yeah, forever. What hit me? Oh my God. I did a car wash yesterday, one of them. I don't. My car washing right now is pretty much rain. I'm like, yep, my car's good. I think I've said that to you before, and you just shake your head at me every time, like, dude, that doesn't count.
Yeah. We have customers that'll come in, and you'll have the customer that will wash their car religiously every day. You get the people that, the average is about 2 times a week to maintain it, keep it looking good. Then you'll have the person that washes their car once a year, and it's been sitting under a tree all year, and it just builds up a thick black layer of film on top, and it just doesn't come out. And they paid for just a regular car wash, and they ask you, why didn't the car look clean? And I ask them, do you brush your teeth every day? I'm like, and if you didn't brush your teeth, you'd start to build up plaque and your teeth would rot out of your head. I mean, you got to treat your car this exact same way. It's your paint is like your skin. It has pores. And if you're not cleaning it, putting wax on it to protect the paint, it starts to degrade just like anything else. And it just goes back to the fact of trying to educate people on maintaining a clean car.
So it sounds like car wash is more customer service than anything else at this point.
Oh, definitely. Yeah.
Even though you're going more and more automated, it's still a lot of customer service.
Yeah, it's less hands-on stuff. You can automate as much as you want, but you still have to educate the public. You're still in front of people. You're selling to customers, trying to get them to sign up for the plan to be a frequent washer. But yeah, it's still 100% customer service based, which definitely helped me out with the short-term rental aspect, because that's also, you're not just owning the property, you're also in the customer service side of it.
Yep. And sometimes you say no, and sometimes they're wrong and you still say yes.
Yep.
I know I have given money to people when I was not in the wrong, but I was like, you know what? I don't want a bad review. So
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
because you have all the
Sometimes
power right now.
it's not that the customer is always right. It's just that the customer is always the customer. And at the end of the day, they're the one paying and they're the one with the money.
Yeah. I do find most of the time. So I have a good rating. I got one-star review from somebody who was trying to extort me for money. And I stood my ground, and now I have a 4.81 instead of like a 5. Everything else has been really good, knock on wood. But I find just treating people like people and having good conversations within the short-term rental world to get you the 5-star reviews. And they'll
Yep.
overlook some little things because you're helping and trying, because you're a person. You're not just a robot who's just, or just ignoring them. The amount
Yep.
of people I see when I go to short-term rentals that just don't get back to you is crazy. Like my apps on my phone. You look at your phone all the time with text messages. I look at my hospital on my phone too. Pops up a message saying they have a message. And it's not even that often. The VAs cover my 23 that we manage, so I don't look at those messages. And that's covered 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. But my own personal one, that's covered by me. And how often does that go off? A couple times a week. If you got automated messages on it, that's about it. Unless
Right.
you have the occasional person that likes talking to you all day, every day. And that's just part of the business.
Yeah.
So you went, what made you jump to short term rentals again? Like, what made you pick
So
that over long term rentals, medium term
yeah.
rentals, all the other stuff out there?
So I feel like, just like a lot of investors in real estate, how they get started. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Well, let me go back a little bit. I was always investing in different things: stocks, bonds, commodities. I also own casks of whiskey that are currently in Scotland right now. So I've
Yum, yum,
always
yum.
been investing in different things. And, I came across investing in real estate. I was like, is this even feasible for me? Can I do something like this? And I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that kind of sparked and like opened my eyes, and I was like, I have to do this. This is what I need to do. And so I did a cash out refinance on my primary residence, and I was like, all right, now I got funds for a down payment. Let me start looking for property. And so I started networking, looking at properties around me to do a long term rental. And I went in towards some 5 unit properties that I was looking to get into, and I just didn't have the interest in it. And I was like, this is not something I think I want to do right now. And so I need to find something I'm passionate about, because if I'm passionate about it, then I'll actually want to stick with it and, see it through. And I, I came across doing short-term rentals and, getting on Airbnb, VRBO, direct booking, all that stuff. And I'm like, this is something I could see myself doing. And I'm like, let me explore it further. And I just kept trying to figure out, what's the next step? What's the next step? Hence the name of the company I started, Next Step Investments, because for me, it was, what was the next step in my life? So that's how I kind of have my mindset now, is like, what's the next step? What's the next step? What am I going to do next to get to that goal of financial freedom, essentially? And so I was like, all right, let's do the short-term rental thing. Now I had to pick my market. Where do I want to go? And it was funny because I happened upon the Smoky Mountains years before that. When I got married, my wife and I went on a vacation down there. And then I was like, all right, well, I know it's busy there. I know that people are renting out cabins and stuff, because I had rented a cabin before too. And I'm like, let's try this market. So the demand was there, and I saw that, and that's what drove me to actually purchase a property in the Smokies.
Nice. I know with me, it was I was looking at the Smokies and a few others, and I bought in Kissimmee. And one of the reasons was I found a really good realtor. I was like, okay, cool. I found a really good realtor. I have one now in the Smokies, thanks to you. But back then I didn't. I was like, okay, I like this
Yep.
market. It's good. And I got a realtor because a lot of realtors in the investing game in general, especially short-term rentals, like, yeah, I can help with short-term rentals. Do you know what they're about? Yeah, I do. And then you talk to them, they're like, they don't.
Yeah.
So if anyone's out there looking to buy short-term rentals, make sure you interview your realtor so they know. One of the big things that I like to know is, do you have any short-term rentals? If
Yeah.
they say no, that's pretty much a disqualifier for me. You don't have a short-term rental, or you haven't put an offer on a short-term rental at least. Sorry, like I'm looking for someone that is in the industry and knows the industry.
Yeah. You want to
Like I think,
use people that you trust. So if you have a lender that you trust or property manager, the chances are they have a great agent or somebody else that they use and that they know, and they're betting their reputation on it, that you can go ahead and reach out to help you. It's always that who, not how, because I'd rather rely on the expertise of others who have already done it before me.
yeah, I'm all about referrals. You know that.
Yep.
Every time I want something down there, I'm like, hey, John, how's it going, man? I got a question for you about Gatlinburg. And then I get that. And you give me a rock star person for realtor and a rock star person for mortgages. And I found out a non warrantable mortgage for 20% down. So now I'm all happy about Myrtle Beach because condo hotels and 35%
Yeah.
down condo hotels that are non warrantable at a 10% interest rate. I didn't want anything to do with that.
Yeah. No
But
thanks.
in fact, I need to get her into the salary to stay group because I want her to give a training in there about all of the loan products for short term rentals because they're cool. And most people don't know you can put 10% down and buy a short term rental. That's what you did too, right?
Yep. And I just got approved for my second one. So you can do one per state, but I actually am doing another one. So in Tennessee.
Yeah, it's up to so many years, right?
Yeah. Which I didn't know, but I wouldn't have known that without relying on someone who did.
Yeah. We'll see how my DTI comes in this year and if I can get 10% down loan there. As an entrepreneur, for everyone out there who's starting the entrepreneur journey, your loans and your DTI is one of the things they don't talk about, that it's a mess. You have
Yeah.
to work your taxes to get the most write-offs while keeping your DTI in line if you want to buy that year. So it's a fun game you play
Yeah.
to make sure you're in line with where you need to be, especially when you're doing cost segs to write off everything. Well, this year, so advanced depreciation, blah, 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 blah. Talk for another time. So the question I always ask at the end before I ask you how to find you is, all these struggling and starting entrepreneurs, which is what this podcast is mostly for, people like myself a couple years ago, that's like, where do I go? What do I do? What is the number one thing you could tell them to help them out, or a story from your past that you got over that will help them kind of see that they can make it too?
Yeah. To be honest, I would just, for the same thing that I did, was figure out what drives you, and you have to have a goal in mind. For me, it was financial freedom, spending more time with my kids and leaving a legacy behind, putting my name to something. Find something for you that drives you, and then figure out what's the next step. Just take the next step. Don't be afraid of trying to figure out everything, trying to learn everything before you do. Take the next step and learn as you go. Because if you don't, you're just always going to be sitting back on the sidelines while everyone else is doing it.
That's a huge thing. My coach beat that into my head a couple months ago because I always took steps, but I always stressed about the end game. And he was like, dude, you have no idea the end game. take the next step, reevaluate, then take the next step. He goes,
Yep.
he calls it, take the next step. Now you're in the unknown. Evaluate, then take the next step. Don't think about the end. Just figure out where you are right now and where you have to go next. And it alleviates so much stress in my life from where do I have to be? Where do I have to be? It's not where you have to be, like you said. What do I got to do next? As long as I'm walking the right direction, I can take lefts and rights, and things will get in my way. So that was amazing advice for everyone out there that he just gave you. Is you don't have to know the end game. You don't have to know your purpose in life. You don't have to know exactly where you're going to end up. You just point yourself in the right direction and start walking that way. Take the steps in that direction. Do some of the things. Some are going to be right. Some are going to be wrong. Some things you're going to learn from. Some things you're going to make money from. Some things you're going to lose money from. But every step is a step. My coach taught me that too. Don't measure yourself in this world, the entrepreneur world, on distance. Measure in steps. Because we learn every step we take. We learn, I don't like that. Or we learn, I do like that. Or we learn, ooh, that loses me money. Those type of things.
Yeah.
Another eye-opener for me. Thanks for bringing that back to my head, man. Those are things I need to keep in the front of my head.
That's what I'm here for.
I'm actually putting my wall back there, that where the ocean is, on my green screen. Yeah, I'm gonna have something made up and put it back there, but I haven't done it yet. So, man, if anyone wants to talk to you about car washes or how to raise 3 small children without going insane, or the Smoky Mountains, or your mindset journey, how do they find you?
You can find me on Facebook or Instagram. I think you'll post my Instagram handle on there, or it's Investing Introvert, which is pretty much like explains who I am.
I love that.
Or, I mean, I can put my phone number in the bio. You can put my email. They can do that too.
Yeah, whatever you want. If you're comfortable with it, and give it to Mark, he'll put everything you want down there.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to network and talk to as many people as possible.
Cool. And for me, the easiest way to find me, if you want to talk short-term rentals, is in Salary to Stay. Behind me, that is my Facebook group for short-term rentals. I post in there and we talk in there. John is also in there posting and talking a lot. And I do a live once a week where we talk about Q&As and short-term rentals. This week we're going to talk about knowing your short-term rental market, both before and after you buy. Because I'm finding people are losing track of their market after they buy. They're like, I don't need to know about my market. Yeah, you do, for pricing purposes. And Jason L. Regan is my Facebook handle if you want to find me. And shoot me a DM. That's the easiest way to go hold of me there, because I'm in front of my computer a lot lately trying to set up everything on the back end of my coaching business and the Facebook group behind it. All of my info will be down below too. All of John's info will be down below. And I think that's it. Thank you guys for listening, and I'll see you soon.
Thanks, John.
Thanks for hanging out with me today on Empire Expanders. Don't forget to subscribe and follow my social media channels for more insightful fun. Also, explore the links in the show notes. If you've enjoyed what you heard, giving us a 5-star rating would really help us out and be appreciated. Stay tuned for more on Empire Expanders.